Just outside of Damascus, pilgrims gather to pray at the tomb of a granddaughter of the Prophet Muhammad.
These are Iranian pilgrims. Thousands come to Syria every month to visit this Shiite shrine.
Iran and Syria have had long-standing political and cultural ties, and after being lumped into the axis of evil together, they've grown even closer.
So I'm here at the Damascus International Trade Fair, where I've heard the Iranians have a major presence.
It turns out that Iran has the largest exhibit at the fair, where it's showcasing several joint Syrian-Iranian projects. Now that U.S. trade sanctions are putting the squeeze on Syria, Iran has stepped up support of its ally.
مصنع هون بسوريا لكن مين يصنعه الإيرانيين؟ إيراني سوري. This is a car made here in Syria with Iranian money. It's an Iranian investment.
But it's not cars and washing machines that are of real concern to the U.S. It's Syrian-Iran support for groups like the Shiite militant organization Hezbollah. I'm traveling to a Hezbollah stronghold in southern Lebanon, just a 2-hour drive from Damascus. This will be a challenge for the next U.S. president, how to engage with a country that still supports groups the U.S. says sponsor terrorism. Israel accuses Syria of channeling Iranian arms to Hezbollah, a charge the Damascus regime denies. Hezbollah has launched this public exhibit to celebrate what it calls its victory over Israel in the July 2006 Israel-Hezbollah war.
Why has Hezbollah mounted this exhibition?
First of all, just to show all the people the defeat the Israelis had passed through in the last war. And the second, we wanted to make our fan, the Hezbollah fan, a part of this victory.
It's a macabre display of items collected by Hezbollah on the battlefield.
This helmet used to be for an Israeli soldier who was sniped by a Hezbollah fighter directly in the head.
The exhibit features an elaborate recreation of the martyr's paradise, an inspiration to young would-be suicide bombers. The film pays homage to one of the most notorious terrorists of the past few decades.
Is this gigantic cap represents the olive cap of Haj Imad Mughni he used to wear with his military uniform.
Imad Mughniya was a Hezbollah commander. The U.S. accuses him of the 1983 Marine barracks bombing in Beirut and the hijacking of a TWA plane a few years later. Mughniya was assassinated earlier this year in a mysterious car bombing in Syria's capital. The exhibit features an elaborate shrine to him.
So these are the clothes that he died in when he died in a car explosion in Damascus.
Yeah.
Tell me, who killed Imad Mughniya?
We believe that Imad Mughni has been murdered by the Israeli army.
But some find it hard to believe that such a wanted figure could have been killed in downtown Damascus without the knowledge of the Syrian government itself. Political dissident Riyad Turk thinks that Mughniya might have been sacrificed by those inside the regime who want to distance themselves from Iran and Hezbollah.
بيعكس تناقضات داخل النظام في الخفاء فهي تصفي بعضها البعض من أجل سياسة ما ستفوز لا ندري إما البقاء مع إيران أو الانفتاح على الغرب. أنا أعتقد هذا هو السبب الرئيسي.
And now there's hush talk of another assassination. President Assad's top military advisor was shot outside his beach home, but there's no reference to it in the papers. He was rumored to have been the man responsible for arms shipments between Iran and Hezbollah. I go to see the Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs, Faisal Muqdad.
A close associate of the president's, General Suleiman, was recently assassinated. How can you explain this assassination? Do you know what's going on?
We don't talk about these things. Of course, investigation is still going on. But, I mean, it happens. It happens anywhere in the world. Terrorists, enemies, and so on and so forth. But we have no conclusions.
So there is an investigation going on?
Absolutely. If any regular citizen is, assassinated this way, then we have to look into that.
Any theories about who might be behind this?
We don't want to speculate, but the issue is under investigation.
For Assad, this is no time to be talking about mysterious deaths, as he's trying to bring Syria out of the cold and back onto the world stage. But some Syria watchers wonder how big a price Damascus is willing to pay for its recent re-engagement with France.
There have been 2 very high-level assassinations in Syria, large question marks as to who was behind those assassinations. Were they the work of the Syrian government itself, kind of making a deal with Europe and the international community, because that's the only breakthrough from what we've seen in the last year that could facilitate such a diplomatic opening. And that would indicate a significant behavioral change in Syria.
Does this mean Syria is ready to give up its ties to Hezbollah and Iran in exchange for peace with Israel and closer relations with the West?
The media is talking about Syria at a crossroads right now. In which direction is Syria heading, in your view?
It depends on the other party. It depends whether, the forthcoming administration of the United States will continue pressurizing the Western countries to continue with this isolation. The relations with Iran are relations between 2 friendly countries. We don't think these relations contradict with any opening or with new relations with Western countries.
In a recent interview on Hezbollah's television channel, President Assad reiterated his support for Syria's longtime allies, saying Syria would stand with Iran on all the major strategic issues.
بالنسبة لنا لا نرى مصلحة بالتخلي عن المقاومة. موقفنا واضح دائما.
The resistance is code for groups like Hezbollah that the U.S. considers to be sponsors of terrorism. Is Assad talking to Israel just to buy time and preserve his regime? Or will he indeed cut ties with radical groups if offered the right incentives? Some Western analysts say not even Syria knows at this point. They say President Assad is waiting for the outcome of the U.S. elections to see if and how a new American president engages the Damascus regime.
There's much more to explore on our website. Discuss the world and tell us what you think of our stories from a small planet at pbs.org/frontlineworld.